Hello everyone and welcome to this live feedback session here on Verba Vocal with me, Anna. Unfortunately, once again, Mark is still away working, so you've just got me today, me and my cup of tea, which reminds you to give this video a thumb up. Thank you to those of you who have joined me. It is Friday night here in the UK. I'm not quite sure exactly where you're all watching from, but I'm really glad that I'm getting to spend some time with you on my Friday evening. I will try and keep this nice and compact and short so that it doesn't take up too much of your Friday evening if you're also in the UK or in Europe. And so, as you know, I did a giveaway at some point a few months ago where I offered free feedback to anyone who wanted feedback on their singing. I've had a number of you enter. We've already done a few feedback sessions, and today we're looking at another 5 singers who have asked for some feedback on their voice. Of course, if you're not one of the 5, it doesn't mean that you can't learn something by being here, watching other people, and also listening to the feedback that they receive. And also, it's about what you think as well. So if you have something constructive that you would like to add when listening to these different singers, then please feel free to put it in the comments box. All contributions are welcome. I would just say, though, this is a safe environment. Anyone who has been brave enough to put themselves forward to appear on this feedback video, they get complete kudos from me. They are absolutely fantastic. It takes a lot of guts to put yourself forward and say, I want to get better, can you help me? And so any negative comments or unpleasant comments will be removed. So please keep it positive, keep it happy. This is a safe place, so let's all learn together. So without further ado, just a very quick hello to everyone that's joined. Hi, I've been speaking to a few of you. It's great to talk to you. But without further ado, I'm going to jump straight in with the very first singer. And the first singer we're going to look at today is a lady called Roro Rants. Roro Rants. And Roro had a very specific need. She's having problems with a gravelly sound. So she likes this gravelly sound that she found when she was singing with a cold. You have to be careful when singing with a cold. But anyway, she sang with a cold and had this gravelly effect, which she really liked. And lots of her friends are saying, we really like this gravelly sound. And she's tried to recreate this gravelly sound, but has caused some pain and problems with her voice and wants to know, basically, can you sing with a gravelly sound and it be safe? But before I jump in to answer that question, we're going to have a look and see her doing some of her thing. So here we go.
Nothing fills the blackness that has seeped into my chest. I need you in my blood, I am forsaken, all the rest. Just reaching, I wanna reach you. Oh, come to my window. Roll inside, wait by the light of the moon. Come to my window, I'll be home soon. I don't care what they think, I don't care what they say. What do they know about this love?
Okay, thank you so much, Roro. So, having had a listen to that, my first instinct is concern. I always think that vocal health is much more important than style or, any kind of sound. It's not worth putting yourself into a detrimental place vocally just to get a certain sound. There are some singers out there who manage to create a gravelly, husky, constricted sound, and they are able to go on tour and do it for many years, but a lot of them will encounter vocal problems. quite famously, actually, there's been a number of singers who have experienced things like nodules or vocal hemorrhaging because they haven't looked after their vocal health, and they've always aspired to have a certain sound, and they've done it on a regular basis and got to a point where they are unable to sing for a long period of time, if not forever, change the sound of their voice because they were looking for a certain sound. So Roro, when I'm listening to you, you do sound actually very constricted, and this cracking that you're feeling and the pain that you're feeling is concerning. So I would forget what everyone's saying. It's not worth damaging your voiceover. It sounds like you have potentially, because you say you feel pain, it potentially means that you are doing something that is damaging. So stop, please stop. I would feel very uncomfortable telling anyone that they can gravel safely. There are ways to do it, but it's very, very, very difficult, and it's almost impossible to teach at a distance. You'd have to do it with a teacher one-to-one and make sure that what you're doing is safe. But even then, it's very difficult to know that it's completely safe. I would just concentrate on getting very good, strong, basic technique. I think the key to any successful singer is to have strong, basic technique. Like any gymnast or any sportsman, they have to have a certain level of fitness and strength before they can then go on and do the crazy skills. So always with singing, get the basic fundamental things in place. Good pitching, good vocal range, good strength, control over your different vocal qualities. So do all of that before you then start to try and put certain effects onto your voice. Throughout watching you singing, I noticed that you're looking up to the camera, so be very careful of this, because what this is doing is stretching your windpipe, it's stretching your throat here, which squeezes the space, and it stops your larynx from moving. It makes it a very tight space for your larynx. So your voice is being squeezed. And so this is why you have to have a nice head position when you're singing, good posture, good head position. So that's the first thing. Stop looking up like this. Stand up straight. If you need to, bring your phone or whatever you're recording with down to eye level so that you're not reaching up. And the same if you're looking at sheet music or lyrics somewhere. Don't have them too low and don't have them too high. Always at eye level. Nice posture. Okay. And then what I'm hearing is that you're dragging up your chest voice. So your chest voice is absolutely, solidly your speaking voice. So if I'm going to speak to you firmly right here, right now, this is my chest voice. So if I'm going to sing like this, this is my chest voice. And then if I try to take it higher and higher and higher, you can see it's getting squeezed, and look at my throat, it's so tense. You can't do that. So you have to start then to work on strengthening higher parts of your voice so that you can shift gear, as it were, shift from that chest voice up into a lighter kind of mixed tone, and then up further into what would be a head voice and a tilted position. If I were you, I would work solidly in my head. I'd work on twang to get that nice and strong. And then I'd work on the switching exercises to switch from one to the other. And then you'll start to find this nice kind of mixed place. Mix is difficult to achieve. It is difficult to achieve, but it sounds to me like you sing solidly in your chest. So that's going to be nice and strong and safe. It's going to feel safe for you. That's going to be your go-to singing setup. But if you start to work up your head voice and work up your twang and all that resonance up there, then that's slowly going to get stronger and stronger and feel more natural. And then you'll be able to match the two together. So working on your head voice, working on your twang, keeping relaxed, a good position, and then using the exercises. I think the video is called switching exercises, or how to switch from your head to your chest voice. So do have a look at those and use those exercises. It feels awful at first. It feels like you're singing with a really weak voice if you're used to singing in your chest. But I promise you it's for the best. Okay? But otherwise, thank you so much for putting yourself forward. Guys, I can see loads of comments and questions coming through in the chat room. I'm going to do all the questions at the end. Okay, so I'll do all the singers' feedback and then questions at the end. So just save it and I'll be with you. Okie dokie. So has anyone got anything to say about that? Oh, so many questions. Okay, so I'm just going to move straight on. Just so you know, everyone that I'm featuring, there is a link to their videos in the description of this particular video. So as you can see, I'm going in and making sure I subscribe to everyone and making sure I give all those videos a thumb up. And so if you are able to, then do go in and show these guys some support. All right, so the next singer is a young lady who just generally wanted some feedback to see what we thought she was doing and if she could do it any better, any tips. So here we go. It's a lady called Nancy.
Why did you leave me here to burn? I'm way too young to be this hurt. And I feel doomed in hotel rooms, staring straight up at the wall, counting wounds, and I am trying to numb them all. Do you care? Do you care? Why don't you care? Gave you all of me, my blood, my sweat, my heart, and my tears. Why don't you care? Why don't you care? I was there when no one was. Now you're gone and I'm here. I have questions for you. Number one, tell me who you think you are. You got some nerves trying to tear my faith apart. I have questions. Number two, why would you try and play me for a fool? I should have never, ever trusted you. I have questions. Number three, why would you?
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much, Nancy. What a beautiful song. I really enjoyed that. Are you recording on your phone? I was hearing a dit, 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 dit. So just these little kind of filming things. Obviously, I film all the time, so I'm aware of these technical things. But if you're not filming on your phone, be careful not to put your phone too close to your recording device, because that's what causes that little bup, 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 bup sound. And if you are recording on your phone, when you're recording, perhaps turn your phone onto airplane mode so that you're not receiving messages and calls while you're trying to film, because that obviously is having a problem. It's interrupting the sound. I really, really enjoyed what you did. My initial response to what you're doing is I'm really pleased with what you're doing. You've got a nice poppy sound, so pop sounds lovely in your voice. Also, what I love about what you're doing is that you're putting lots of feeling into it. My background as a singer is in musical theatre, and I actually trained initially as an actress, so I always come from everything as a storyteller. And I think if anyone's going to really enjoy what you do, it's because they understand the story behind what you're singing. And so even if you're just singing for singing's sake, you should always try and tell a story, always try and put some feeling or some background into what you're doing. Because if people are going to connect with you, they need to understand a story, they need to get something, they need to get feeling. And I think, Nancy, what you do there is really full of feeling, and you're going definitely in the right way in terms of performance. So really well done. If I was to give you any constructive criticism, ways that you can improve, I would say I really like your creak. I like this. That's the poppy sound. That I got something. This kind of creak sound. I like it. Vocal fry. Some people call it vocal fry. And it sounds great. It's great for the style of pop. But I think you can tone it down a little bit. I don't think it needs as much vocal fry. I would like to hear more clear tones. And also, you've got an audible breath. So I can hear a lot of, I got questions. So I hear this, which means you've got a slight constriction in your throat. So just try to feel more open in your throat. You can do this by doing a silent laugh or by yawning and having that yawn feeling. And just by doing that, if you yawn or silently laugh, you'll feel this expansion in the throat or at the back of the mouth, like that. And if you can try and make that happen while you sing, sometimes you'll get a more open sound. Or just practice breathing without taking an audible breath. Okay. And the other thing I wrote down for you was you're singing very low. I don't think this is like the natural place for your voice. I think your kind of optimum pitch is a bit higher. So I would love to hear you singing something higher up in your range. I I'm of the impression, I might be wrong, but I'm of the impression you're singing low because you feel more comfortable down there, and that you feel maybe a bit vulnerable going up. But I would love to hear you working on the upper part of your voice. I think it will sit nicer if this was a few tones higher. So, the next thing I want to hear from you, Nancy, and I'm just going to subscribe right now. Subscribe and thumbs up. The next thing I want to hear from you is something in the higher range. Okay? Fantastic. So, the next person that we're going to be looking at is a gentleman called, I might say this wrong, Fursua. I'm sorry if I've pronounced that incorrectly, but let's have a look at what you're doing. In particular, you had a question about working on your break. So the break in the voice is where the voice is the weakest because it has to make a transition. So like for me, I have a problem between my belt, my low voice, my chesty voice, and my upper range, which is what most girls struggle with. Switching from chest voice into head voice, there'll be a point where your chest voice is weak, but also your head voice is weak. And it's this kind of funny place where your voice will kind of flip one into the other if you put too much pressure on the voice. And that's where you get a crack or a big kind of drop in the voice. And he's wanting to know how he can work on that and make that stronger. But let's have a listen. Now, for Surah, you sent me one particular video, and I actually had a look at some of your other videos on your channel, and I've actually chosen to showcase a different video. I hope that's okay. But I think this video shows a better side of your voice, and so I thought I would show this one instead. I hope that's all right. Let's have a look, shall we?
On a cold afternoon, no room full of emptiness, line of freeway. I confess I was lost in the pages of a book full of them, reading how it died alone. Never go lay to rest anywhere we want to go. In your house I long to be, room by room, patiently wait for you there, like a stone. I'll wait.
Okay. Sorry to stop that there. And lots of love coming through for that particular song. Lots of people saying, awesome, fabulous, love your voice, love his voice, OMG, love heart eyes. Yeah, really great. Guys, don't forget that I have got links to these people's channels in the description of this video. So if you are feeling the love, then go and show the love. Go over and visit their channels and give them a thumbs up and a follow. I really like this song actually in your voice. I think this is a much better song for Surah than the one that you originally sent to me. I think this kind of song, this range is really lovely, especially like when you started off, the tone of your voice here is beautiful. So I did a few videos not so long ago to give you the what's the word? I need Mark to help me when I lose my words. To give you your range, to tell you whether you are a alto, mezzo, soprano for girls, or whether you are a bass, baritone, or a tenor for boys. And as a lot of people commented, of course, it's not just about range, and we know that. I did mention it in the girls video, but I forgot to mention it in the boys video. It's not just about what range you can hit, it's about the tone of your voice and where the warmth of your voice is and where your break is, and that gives you a classification. That tells you what type of singer you are. It doesn't mean that you can't sing other songs. It doesn't mean that you can't do songs that are higher or songs that are lower. It just means that your warmth, the beautiful, the best tone in your voice is in a certain place. So for me, I can sing alto because I have a very low voice. I can sing very, very low, much lower than the average girl. And I also can sing it's difficult for me, but I can sing higher. I can sing like a top E when I'm in good vocal health. At the moment, I'm recovering from a cold, so my voice is terrible right now. But if I'm in good voice, I can sing up to a top E, which would make me a soprano. However, I would always tell people I am a mezzo because the warmer tones in my voice sounds the nicest when I sing around the middle. Because it's just where the warmth is. And for Surah, when you're singing this song, like the lowered notes in this song particularly is where the nice warm tones are. And so these kinds of songs in this kind of range are perfect for you. Now, to answer your question about working on a break, the best thing you can do, if you have a very obvious break, if your voice really flips between voice qualities, and I know because I have this problem myself, my voice changes dramatically between my chest voice and my head voice. And I would get so far and then go, oh, and switch, and it would be awful. The best thing you can do is to work your chest voice higher. So do days when you're exercising your chest voice and work your chest voice much higher or push it higher than you feel comfortable. So work it over your break, maybe three notes over your break if you can. And then also, and this is really important, work your head voice down. So work your head voice really low. Head voice you can take low, low, low. So I would take my head voice all the way down, like past middle C, down as far as you can. It will feel really weak. You'll be going la, 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 and it will feel like you're just being ridiculous. But the more you work that head voice down and the chest voice up, then you're going to have this lovely, rich area in the middle where you're good in both voices, and that will make switching much easier. And then, just like I suggested to Roro, was it Roro? Yeah, just like I suggested to Roro, work on that switching video. So go to find that switching exercise video and do those exercises where you're switching at different places so it's not just on one note. Then, when you come to performance and you know it goes over your break, I would find a place, if it's really obvious that you're switching, I would find a place before the break point. So if I'm doing a song where it slowly gets higher and higher and higher, I wouldn't wait until the point where my chest voice is at breaking point and then switch. I would change a few notes before. So I'd find normally changing on M's and N's is quite nice. So if you're singing if you're singing something like that, or I never, 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 or something like that, change on those nasal sounds, M or N's. It's a really nice transition into your upper range, into your head voice. Okay? I hope that was helpful and not just garbled. But yeah, otherwise, I thought it was really, really nice. Well done. Okay, so Louis is the next person, and Louis is just wanting some general advice for his voice. Okay, so let's have a look at Louis.
Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces pass, I'm homebound. Staring blindly ahead, just making my way through the crowd. And I need you, and I miss you, and now I wonder if I could fall into the sky. Do you think time would pass me by? 'Cause you know I walk 1,000 miles if I could just see you tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm not sure if it's Louis or Lewis. I think it's Louis when it's spelled like that, Louis. Really well done for sending your stuff in, and thank you as always to everybody who does. My biggest tip for you, besides confidence, because I think you're lacking in confidence. I mean, I think you've been incredibly brave because you do seem a little bit nervous. You seem a lot nervous. So well done for being brave enough to kind of send your stuff forward. But I really want more confidence from you. You seem really kind of so you're internally singing, and when you're performing, even if you think you're singing out, you're usually not singing out enough. You have to really project. And this is why singing is so scary, because you have to make yourself super vulnerable. You have to open your mouth, open your heart, open your soul, and give it out to the audience and hope that they find it enjoyable and entertaining in some way. And that is scary. It really is scary. But for you, you're really into that. And I want you to just connect with the voice, and I want you to give it out. Well done on choosing the song. I love it when people switch and like men sing female songs and females sing male songs. I love it. It's so nice. It's a real way to make something your own, is taking something either into a different style or from a different gender and making it your own. Fantastic. But what I really want to see from you is, firstly, as well, standing up straight. What I always say to most people, standing up straight, because at the moment you're craned right over, and that's going to shut everything down. So stand up straight. Try to find that confidence. I say almost every week to everybody, feign confidence. Pretend to be confident. If you pretend to be confident, then something happens, and it's like pretending to be confident sometimes will fool you into being confident. And once you get a few lines out, then you just become more and more confident. A little personal story. Last weekend, I was in the gymnastics competition. I was in the British Championship Gymnastics. And I've only been doing gymnastics for 3 years, and I'm old. I'm 35, I'm old. So I'm too old to be doing gymnastics, really. And I felt so nervous. And particularly on the beam, when I was doing the beam. And I was so nervous that I thought either I might throw up or I'll probably fall off, and I'm shaking so much I don't know what to do. But I always believe if you pretend to be confident, it kind of informs you and you end up being confident. And as soon as that green light went on and the judge went, off you go, I just put my hands in the air and I was like, I'm confident, I'm a gymnast, I'm going to do it, I'm going to get gold medal. And I just went for it. And initially in my head, I'm going, oh my God, this is horrible. But eventually, like after a few moves, because I was just pretending to be confident, I suddenly became more and more still, and I just performed. And then by the last few moves, I was really enjoying it. So by the time I got to the last move, which was a backward somersault dismount off the beam, quite scary. By the time I got to that point, I was so full of confidence that I did the biggest backward somersault I've ever done and landed like pow, and everyone was like, yeah, and I was like, yeah. I pretended to be confident, and by the end of it I was confident. So that's my advice to all of you guys. No matter how you're feeling, whatever doubts you have, whatever you think about yourself, pretend to be confident, pretend to be the person you want to be, and you'll be surprised, you'll be amazed at what that does to your performance. Okay? So Louis, feign confidence, stand up straight, and get more connection with your voice. So at the moment you're singing on what is a very tilted head voice, even when you're singing low, which you don't need to. So get that strong connection with your voice, just like I'm speaking. Making my way downtown, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba. So you sing with your speech voice initially, and then you can move up into different types of voices. But let's get some connection, okay? I hope that was helpful for you, Louis. All right, so the very last person that we're going to be watching is a gentleman called Hassim, and he's singing a Justin Bieber song. I'm playing the guitar. Let's have a look. So let's get this up here.
Mama don't like you, she likes everyone. And I never lied to admit that I was wrong. And I've been so caught up in my job, didn't see what's going on. But now I know I'm better sleeping on my own. For all the times that you read about parade, and all the clubs you get in using my name. You think you broke my heart, oh girl, for goodness sake. You think I'm crying on my own, well I am. 'cause I didn't want anyone thinking I still care. I don't, but you still hit my phone up. And maybe I've been moving on, and I think you should be something I don't wanna hold back. Maybe you should know that my mama don't like you, she likes everyone. And I never lied to admit that I was wrong. And I've been
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much, Hassim. Fantastic. I'm always incredibly impressed when people can play the guitar or any instrument and sing at the same time. I really struggle just to play chords on the piano and sing. I struggle just to remember the words, never mind do anything else. So really, really well done. I guess you're doing a lovely performance. I really like the tone of your voice. If I was to give you any feedback, it would be that sometimes the pitching accuracy is a little bit off. Now, I will say, in my experience as a teacher, this song is actually particularly difficult for pitching. It kind of moves all over the place, and it's just a little bit awkward for pitching, actually. And so, I think it's hard for anyone, but with this song in particular, if you're going to continue to perform this song, my advice would be work on really nailing the pitching. It's particularly at the ends of phrases, so as you're coming to the end, it's just going slightly flat. I hate saying that to people, but pitching is really important, and people do hear it. Even if they're not very musical, people do end up hearing, and they can notice when pitching just goes slightly out. So work on your vocal accuracy. Perhaps practice singing this song without your guitar so that you can just put that down, sit up straight, and concentrate on really actively working this song into your vocals. I used to struggle with pitching all the time and had no knowledge of it whatsoever. When I started training, my vocal training, my teacher was like, "How are you so flat all the time?" And I'm like, I'm not flat. I've been singing for years. How can you say I'm flat? I'm not flat. And then I did lots of training and then realized later I was flat. I was flat quite a lot. So it's just a slight adjustment. And actually what might help you is the ear training. If you do more ear training and pitch interval training, then that actually helped me a lot when I was fine-tuning my vocal accuracy. So I think you'll find in the 7-day program, there's a particular lesson for pitching and for vocal accuracy, and also doing the riff videos helps with things like that. So there's a couple of riff videos already out there. Okay, so I do hope you found that helpful, and remember, links for all these videos are in the description box below, so go and show these guys some love. Okay, so I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes and give you and respond to some of your comments. And then I'll let you go. If you have found this helpful, then please do help us out by giving us a thumb. And if you're not already a subscriber, then please do subscribe. Our main aim is to spread the word that anybody can sing. Anybody can sing. The only reason you wouldn't be able to sing is if you had an actual physical problem with your voice. And in cases where people say they are tone deaf, there are very few people who are actually tone deaf. To be tone deaf, it means you would have a problem with your hearing, and therefore you can't translate what you hear into your voice. And so most people who say they're tone deaf aren't tone deaf, they just haven't had the practice. And singing is just about training muscles. Your voice is a muscle, or your vocal folds are little muscles. And so you just need to learn how to use them, just like walking. We all learn to walk because we have to walk. And so we all do it eventually. Some babies learn to walk faster than other babies. Some people will sing a lot better than other people. Some people will sing straight away. Some people would take years to get to a good place. But if we all put in the practice and the time, then we would all be good at singing. We would all be slightly different because we all have different setups, we all have different voices, different teeth, different shapes and spaces inside our mouths, different size vocal folds. And so our sounds will all be different, but we could all be good at singing if we wanted to be. So there is hope for everybody. but nothing comes quickly. You don't learn to walk overnight. You have to first crawl. You have to build up the muscles. Then you have to, once you've got the muscles and the strength, you have to get the coordination. And then once you can walk, then you need to learn to jump and to run and to do all these other crazy tricks. And if you want to do that with your voice, you have to be patient and you have to be persistent. And look after your voice. No silly shouting and constricting and doing it when it hurts. All right, so some questions coming through. How do you do whistle tone correctly, and is it safe to do this? I'm not that familiar with whistle tone, to be honest. It is something that's on our list to do, but Mark and I need to spend a little bit more time doing some research on it before we feel comfortable teaching it. So a couple of you have asked before about whistle tone. It is on our radar. We will release a video about whistle tone at some point in the future, so just bear with us. Lots of you being very sweet. Congratulations. Thank you very much. How do I know if I have vocal damage? If you have vocal damage, it will probably hurt when you sing or when you speak. Also, people who tend to have some form of like nodules will have a very husky sound all the time. So they'll have escaping air, or they'll sound a bit like that. So people who sound like that when they talk, I don't know why I'm doing a northern accent. People who sound like that when they talk, generally, there's something wrong, because it means the vocal folds can't come together properly because there's something in the way, like a nodule or hard skin. And so you'll know through pain or through the sound of your voice. It will be very unusual and you won't be able to get clear tone. All right. Do you have any advice about how to sing musical songs? Obviously, in musical theatre, there are many different types. These days, you've got musicals that use rap. You've got musicals that use soul, R&B, hip-hop, belting songs, legit songs, operatic songs. There's all sorts of different forms. So obviously you have to have good technique. If you're going to be musical theatre, you have to have a general idea of different voice types. And the most important thing with musical theatre is what I said earlier, which is telling a story. You have to be able to tell the story first, so the acting is really important. You don't even have to be an incredible singer to be a good musical theatre performer. You just have to be an incredible storyteller. All right? Thank you very much. Helpful. P.S. You're gorgeous. Oh, Larry, thank you. It's very sweet. How do you control a naturally occurring vibrato, says Julie. Some people do have a very active vibrato. So you'll hear some people are like, I went to the circus. And it's like, whoa, that's a heavy vibrato. You have to practice. It's like putting in, I don't want to say the word tension, but it's just firming things up a little bit. So you have to be very firm with your exercises. So when you're doing like your scales, la 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 la, say you're doing something like that, you don't want to do la 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 la. You have to make sure it's firm. La 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 la. You just have to be really disciplined. Slow your exercises down and make sure you've got straight tone. I would always imagine a point in front of you, like you're sending out a ray of light, and you can't let that ray of light wobble because it has to hit this one point directly in front of you. La. And think about this, just a slight squeezing here, just a coming together of the vocal folds and everything being dead still. La, la. It's hard. I used to sometimes have to do songs without vibrato, and it is tough. It's tough to take out natural vibrato sometimes, so it's good to practice. Amal, I struggled with blocked...
I see you sometimes have to do some practice.
That's Siri. Siri is talking to me on my mobile phone. Why have you even turned on? That is so weird. Oh, what is it saying? I see sometimes you have to do some practice. This has come up on my phone. That is so weird. I see sometimes you have to do some practice. I don't know what you mean by this. That is so weird. I don't know what brought it up. Oh well, my crazy phone. So Amal says, I struggled with blocked sinuses. Yeah, blocked sinuses, or when you're really bunged up nasally, it can have an effect on your voice and the sound of your voice. And if you have to sing with a blocked sinuses or a blocked nasal passage, then it can be quite frustrating as a singer. I would say decongestants, but that's not always good, because decongestants when you're singing can dry you out and it might be worse. So the best thing you can do is to steam. So inhaling steam through your nose and your mouth. If you've got sinus problems and you have to inhale the steam through your nose, normally when I'm doing a gig, I'll just suck the steam in through my mouth and breathe it in. But if you've got blocked sinuses, I would put my head over a bowl or get one of those steam inhalers that goes over your nose and mouth. And particularly think about breathing in the steam, or have a really hot shower, a very steamy hot shower, and see if you can try and clear it out that way. Okay. Anna, my voice is just terrible today. I've not been able to sing since the morning and it feels like burning in my throat. I need to get over this by tomorrow. How? Oh, I mean, if you've got burning in your throat, it sounds like you've got a throat infection. Lots of water. Rest your voice completely. Lots of water. You know, maybe try the old remedies like a bit of honey, lemon, ginger is good as well. So if you slice up some ginger in some hot water with some honey and some lemon, you try that. But you have to allow your body to do what it needs to do, which is to fight the infection. And while that's happening, you need to rest your voice. Sometimes when you have pain in your throat, like if it's the back of your throat, then sometimes the infection won't have touched your vocal folds, but it will still feel sore. So you just have to be very careful. If you have to sing on it, make sure you can do a creak. So make sure you can do a I've been getting over a cold myself. Oh, my creak is terrible. There you go. So if you can do that, your vocal folds are okay. And if you can do that and it doesn't hurt, then you're okay to sing. Just make sure you're using your body. Even if you feel awful, use your body. Take paracetamol to take your temperature down. Ginger, honey, hot water, lemon, and steam, and lots of fluids to hydrate those vocal folds. But if you can rest, then do rest. Okay, what else do we have here? What is your suggestion for healing a voice? It depends what you're healing from. Very gentle exercise. Not going too far in your range. Not really doing too much in terms of belting. Just doing nice tilted, gentle singing, but regular and slowly increasing. But it depends what you're healing from. If you're healing from like vocal surgery, nodules, I would work with an ENT specialist to rehabilitate your voice, because one rule doesn't fit everybody. It depends on what it is. How do I do a vocal flip? I'm not sure what it's called, like a yodel. It's difficult, isn't it? Oh, how do I teach a yodel? You have to work on doing... So it's flipping from one voice type to another, and usually from one pitch to another. So you want to be working on the kind of switching. Oh, it's kind of that. You want to get you have to put a little bit of pressure. I'm breaking my studio. Hang on. There we go. You have to put a bit of tension into the voice before you then do the flip. So the flip comes from the cricoid dropping. So it's pushed, and then it drops back. So you have to have a little bit of pressure through it for it to have a nice drop. It's a tough one to kind of give you advice on. It's not one that I teach very often. But just working on the modulations. So work on the notes that you want to yodel between, and then work on putting a little bit of pressure into the first note to then release into a very gentle second note is possibly what you can try doing. Millside, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, I'm sorry. Thank you for your time and effort. Greetings from Colombia. Greetings, hello. Sky, will anything happen if I do vocal fry the whole day? I mean, if you're talking about talking on vocal fry, I wouldn't talk on vocal fry all day. The thing is, if someone generally kind of talks like that and just has this kind of voice, then what's happening is they're not exercising their voices properly. They're not getting clear, strong tone. So your voice is not developing nice and strong, good habits. And so I would avoid speaking on vocal fry the whole day if I were you. Clear tone is always your friend. How do you clear mucus in your throat? Good question, Chris. So I particularly have got a mucousy throat at the moment. I was very naughty and did a cough. These are bad for you. If you have to sing and you've got a lot of mucus, avoid coughing. If you cough, what it does is it smacks together your vocal folds. And imagine clapping really hard. If you clap really hard a lot, the skin on your hands will get sore, and that's what happens to your voice. If you cough, you clap your vocal folds together, they get sore, and what they do is go, oh, we're under attack, and they release more mucus. So coughing actually makes more mucus. It's not that great for you if you're singing. What you have to do is a huff. And a huff is opening your throat, opening your vocal folds, and going like that. It doesn't really work if you've got a dry cough, but if you've got a mucousy cough and you've got phlegm in your throat, it's the best way to try and clear it. Or swallow to try and clear it instead. Okay? And if you have to cough, try and keep it small so you're not doing a big smack. Good question. My voice is very soft, clear and cute, but I really don't like that because I feel like it sounds flat and not at all interesting. People describe my voice as calming. How can I get more soul? So I'm assuming you sound a bit like a Disney princess. What you can do is just try working with different voice qualities. So maybe putting a little bit more depth into your voice. Play around with placement. Try and get some like low sounds. Coughing again. One thing you can do is try to imitate other singers. So I'm the same. I generally, when I sing, I kind of sing Disney princess type. I sing up here. I like to sing nice and happy and high and light. And that doesn't always work for some songs. So when I was doing my gigs in my band, I'd have to sing things like, I can't even think of the songs anymore. But I had to sing more soulful songs. And it just didn't work to sing them in a high, kind of soft Disney type sound. And so I would try to imitate the original singers or imitate people like Aretha Franklin or people with real soulful voices. And you'll be surprised what you can achieve just by imitation. So just try to get different tones, work with different resonance. And resonance is where the voice vibrates. So if you put your hand on your chest, you'll feel a vibration in your chest. And if you did a you'll feel a vibration here in the face. And so if you try to get more vibrations in your chest while you're singing, you'll have more chest resonance, and that will give it a different sound. Oh, I feel like I'm talking far too much. I need Mark to tell me to shush. What is a chest dominant mix and head dominant mix? So your mix is like obviously a mixed voice, but if it's chest dominant, it means you have more, what I was just talking about, has more resonance in the chest, so more vibrations in the chest. If it's a head dominant mix, then it's more vibrations up here in the head and in the nasal cavity, in the mask of the face. How to cover a male head voice song, I'm a female, and make it your own. Making something your own usually involves slightly changing some of the melody, giving it your own feeling, pulling around. So maybe you'll do the same melody but pull around on the timing. That's a hard question to answer, really. How do you get vibrato? I've done a video all about how to get natural vibrato. It's probably best if you go and watch that one. But vibrato isn't something that you can just do an exercise and it appears. Vibrato is basically, it's time. You have to just give it time. It appears over time with lots of practice. Okay, I'm going to do a few more questions and I'm going to have to go because I do have a private lesson very soon. I've been doing your warm-ups and your other singing exercises, about 30 minutes every day. Is that enough for a good voice? By the way, your channel is the best. Thank you, Hockey6403. I think 30 minutes a day every day is really good. That's really great. When I was improving my voice, when I was training really hard, I was doing a minimum of 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and that saw a big improvement. So just that regular exercise on a daily basis is great. What I would suggest is that you don't always do the same exercises. So you'll notice I did the 7-day program, and there's different exercises every day working different parts of your voice. And that's for a specific reason, because if you work different areas of your voice and different voice qualities, you're going to improve overall much faster. So make sure you do mix it up. Please help me with my a cappella cover. There's no backing tracks allowed in the competition. Any good advice? A cappella. Any advice for a cappella? If you're just singing on your own, I guess make sure you are absolutely hot on the pitching. Of course, you don't have to work with backing tracks, so that's fine. But make sure within the song you stay, whatever pitch you decide to start at, make sure you stay on that pitch. That you don't change the key of the song unintentionally. Also, with a cappella, the important thing is that you don't start in the wrong key. So what normally happens is when you're nervous, you start higher. And then you end up getting into a lot of trouble as the song builds and builds and builds because you're like, this is too high. So make sure you start the right note. Do you have some way of giving yourself the start note so that you don't do that? Because that has been a problem for me and for lots of singers that I know. If they've sang a cappella, they've started too high and it's a nightmare. Sky, can I do twang when my nose is blocked? It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Twang is all about resonance here, so you need clear space. How can we send you our videos if we want feedback? So what you'll have to do is either become a patron. Patrons are people who support this channel and help it to grow and help us to afford equipment and help us to be able to spend time making videos for you. So patrons contribute towards the channel, and in return, patrons get early access to our lessons. And patrons also, as from this month onwards, they will also get all the backing tracks from the Audition Pianist playlists for free. They'll get them as MP3s. And then patrons also, depending on your level of patronage, patrons also can receive feedback in private from Mark and myself. Otherwise, just hang on until the next giveaway. The next giveaway will probably be opened in September or October. So you just have to subscribe and click the bell notification button and then look out for the notification that says feedback giveaway, and then you enter that one, and that's what I'll work from. Okay, so you just have to wait just a little bit. Okay, all right guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Apart from that, I'm just going to answer Kenny's last one. Kenny says, how to sing high with a relaxed jaw because of vibrato. So it's really important when you're doing your practice that you have to monitor this voice, this tension in the jaw. I used to do it a lot. I get really tense. I'm singing higher and higher and higher. I'm going up here, and my jaw was getting really tense. And even I now have to tell myself, as I'm singing up my scales, to drop my jaw and sing relaxed, letting the tongue push forward in order to help you get high. You don't need always to do this when you're singing. You need more open space and the tongue out or high at the back at least to give you that height. It takes time and practice just as you're working. I would even potentially put my fingers on my jaw to make sure I'm constantly releasing those jaw joints. Yeah, you get the point. You don't need me warbling at you. Okay, so guys, most of the things that you've asked me are covered. So those of you who I haven't answered, this is for you. I'm sorry if I haven't answered your comment. I do need to go because I have a private student waiting for me. But if I haven't answered your comment, I'm really, really sorry, but we do have videos on most of the things that you're asking for. So if I haven't answered you this time, then maybe just take a moment to look. If you go onto the homepage, click the video tab, have a look through the videos, or just click the search button on the channel and search for what you're looking for. We have probably covered it. And if not, then please, leave a comment. We have got a list of things to do, and we've got some really cool videos coming up as well. So make sure you have subscribed and press the bell notification button. I know that, so we've got another short exercise video coming up very soon. Patrons, you've already got access to it, but the rest of you will be getting it possibly by the weekend, or by the end of the weekend, or maybe next week. But it's another 5-minute exercise video. It's a bit more intermediate. It's an intermediate version. And then in a couple of weeks, you're also going to have access to a how to beatbox video. I thought we'd go something completely different. So it's learning how to beatbox and, bring in music in that respect, which it was a really great time meeting the guy who's been teaching me how to beatbox. And I'm sure you'll enjoy that. So do look out for that as well. We're nearly at 50,000 subscribers. It would mean the world to me if you were able to give this video a thumb up, and if you're able to share this channel or share any of our exercise videos with any of your friends who are interested in singing, or just sharing on your Facebook page or your Twitter page. That would mean the world to us. Help us to grow the channel, help us to reach more people and bring more music to the world. That would be amazing. But if not, just keep singing, stay happy, lots of love. Thank you for joining me. I will be here again next week, maybe a little earlier, and not earlier in time, or maybe earlier in time, but earlier in the week. And I might be with Nick. Nick might be joining me. Yeah, so cool. You guys stay happy, look after yourselves, look after your voices. Lots of love from London. Mwah.